This is natural ametrine, and it is sometimes difficult to find large, as in the 70 carat range, pieces of ametrine rough that are internally flawless, have great color, and are already somewhat preformed. So when Joe H. put up a few pieces up for sale, I couldn't help myself, and so I snapped this one up. Virtually all natural ametrine in large quantities comes from one source, and that is the Anahi Mine in Bolivia. The Anahi Mine is located in the midst of the rainforest zone near the Pantanal wetlands, which establishes the borderline between Bolivia and Brazil. For a lot of gemstone rough, many locals go to the mining area and search for the gemstones. However, when it comes to ametrine and the Anahi Mine, it's one family that owns the company that has exclusive rights to the Anahi Mine. And there is a legend that goes along with the Anahi Mine. The legend of the Anahi Mine is about a Spanish conquistador named Don Felipe de Goya, who went to the New World in search of treasures, which of course back then meant gold and silver. Instead, he found the love of his life, Princess Anahi. They got married, and he was going to return to Spain, and his wife was going to go with him. But the tribe that the princess belonged to loved their princess so much that they couldn't bear the thought of her leaving. So the tribe planned to attack Don Felipe and the other Spaniards because the princess was going to accompany him, her new husband, back to Spain. Well, Princess Anahi found out about the plot, and she warned her husband of the planned attack, and she told him she couldn't go with him and gave him a piece of jewelry and an amulet with a large gemstone. And Don Felipe and his men fled to avoid being massacred. Princess disappeared and was never seen after that, according to the legend. And the broken-hearted conquistador, as he returned to Spain in a Spanish galleon, examined the gemstone along the way, and he noticed that it was a bicolored gemstone, the likes of which no one in Europe had seen before. And Don Felipe interpreted the bicolor of this heart-shaped gemstone to show the Princess Anahi's divided love between her husband and the people of her tribe. And I'll leave it up to you to research the legend in detail, but that's the overall gist of the legend. Sadly, I have not yet traveled to Bolivia or the Anahi Mine, although I've made several treks to the gem mining region of neighboring Brazil. I just haven't made it to Bolivia yet, but it's on my to-do list. Okay, so for our ametrine, you can see that it's, because it's kind of, I think they must have tumbled it so it's slightly polished. You can see it's internally flawless, but let's take a look at what it looks like in refractol, and you can see what refractol does. Refractol is no longer available. Was made decades ago when there were rock shops everywhere. It was made by Babalu Rocks, Saginaw, Michigan, and the formula was lost over time. So it has about the same refractive index as quartz, which ametrine is. So it should make the quartz look like transparent. You should just see color of the quartz and anything internal to the stone. So you'll see any inclusions. So let's take a look and see what we can see with this stone. Okay, so, same as we saw when we looked at it, because it's got a polish to it. It's, you could see inside it to start with. So basically this refractol just, you can just see the color is all. There's nothing, you can see through the stone, and you can see quite clearly no inclusions in this stone. So to clean off the refractol, I just take it to the sink and I use Dawn dishwasher detergent. Any degreasing detergent will work fine. Make sure you put your little mesh sink trap down in your sink first whenever you're cleaning off your gemstone, so you don't have to go try to fish it out through the plumbing. I recently cut a rather large amethyst into a rectangle or emerald design for a customer, and I used the Golden Steps design. This ametrine will be somewhat larger than that large amethyst that I previously cut, and I think the Golden Steps design will work out well again. So I'm going to use this design. And if I cut this ametrine correctly, this is how the finished gemstone should look from the top, the side, and the bottom. Now, since I've been learning to use the program Gem Cut Studios, or GCS, this application to work with gem cutting designs, I have loaded the Golden Steps design from a PDF or paper copy file into GCS, and I've saved it into my growing library of gem cutting designs in the GCS format, those designs that I like. I will publish a tutorial in building the Golden Steps or recreating it in GCS, so you can learn all about the Golden Steps design and GCS. But let me give you a sneak peek preview of GCS. This feature is called the Cutting Assistant, and it allows you to proof cut your design on the computer before you cut it, just to see how it will cut. You can go facet by facet, but I'll go row by row. I use this feature to adjust the cutting order of some of the facets of the Golden Steps design to suit my personal preferences in the way I cut. Pretty cool, huh? If you're interested in learning along with me all about GCS, just stay tuned for my GCS tutorial videos, because the journey just began. Now the next step with our Ametrine is to use two-part epoxy or super glue or wax, but in my case, in this case, because it's a large gemstone, I'll use two-part epoxy to glue this Ametrine to a large dot. I've made a complete video on using the transfer fixture to set your gemstone into a dot, so I won't cover gluing our Ametrine to the dot in this video. Here's the clickable link to that video if you have any questions on how to use a transfer fixture. Okay, for our Ametrine, what I want to do is cut it as close, down the center as I can. So I've mounted it to our dot right where the color changes from yellow orangish to purple, from citrine to amethyst, and put it right in the center of the dot. So now we need to orient our stone in a rectangular design so that it supports that division. So our lengthwise, this cut, the 96 and the 48 index will actually cut the width of the stone. So we want to set the stone in the dot with the 96 index, the 96 tooth of our index gear, and set the stone so that it's just in horizontally. So I think we've got it just where we want it. So now use the set screw and tighten it up, and we're ready to start cutting our Ametrine. Okay, I've preformed our Ametrine with a 240 grit topper, and now I'll move to a 320. I'm not worried about yield because with Ametrine, what I want is the difference right down the middle, as close as I can get it, between the color differences. So it doesn't matter if I lose rough. I wouldn't want to save rough and then have this dividing line way over to one end or the other. That to me isn't what I want. So good to go, and I pretty well got the length and width set. It's about a 1.4 ratio. I'm fine with 1.4, 1.5, anywhere around there is fine. So now I'll move to the 320 topper. And the topper again is just it's kind of a disposable lap. It's not meant to be my final lap. So it's a topper. It needs a master lap under it, and I use the my ceramic lap as a master because it's the flattest lap I have. So now I'll go to the 320. Okay, with our 320, all I want to do is remove just a little bit of the rough just to get rid of the major scratches that the 240 grit topper caused. So I'll just shave off a little bit. I've already got the length to width pretty well where I need it. This is not a calibrated stone at this size. You get your calibrated stones much smaller. And the reason you worry about a calibrated size is that there's mountings already made, settings already made. So you want to get your length to width to fit in those settings. But with a stone this large, BOPIE'S going to design the setting and it'll fit the stone perfectly, so it doesn't matter. I don't have to grind the stone to a setting. She'll make the setting to fit the stone. So we're just going to grind off 0.02 of the rough from the 200 series topper with our 340 grit topper. Okay, that'll be plenty good. I'll go around all four sides of our stone with this topper and get it the girdle just right. And you notice I've changed my sponge. I cut off a piece of the sponge and made it with the sides, and the reason for that is I put it so that there's a piece up above the lap, and that greatly, even more so, reduces the water, so there's no water spilling out when you lower your splash guard to work on the girdle. So I'll continue going over the girdle with the 320 grit lap. Okay, now that I'm on the 12M lap, which is much finer, I'm working finally this final second row of corner facets, the 12, 36, 60, and 84 angle or indexes. And the instructions have it just kind of going up here, somewhere between, in the middle of this step. Doesn't make sense to me. I'm going to move the facets up to meet the top row here. It just seems to make more sense to me and a better looking design. And then I'll go back and then I'll cut the 46 angle, recut it. This was done earlier just kind of as a placeholder. Then I'll cut the angle again at the 46, and then I'll go back and I'll cut my corner angles on the girdle so that everything lines up. Okay, so now that I've cut the 44 angle all the way up to the row above, I'll go back and now cut the 46 degree angles so they come up to here. Again, these lines on the steps aren't exactly perfect yet. We're on the 12M, they don't have to be, just close enough is fine. So I'm going to use my Sharpie, use a permanent marker to help me make sure I've got the angle, that I don't overcut it. And thank you for the feedback. I understand that in Australia they do understand what a Sharpie is. Although they have another name they also use, brand name, but they do get Sharpie, so that's good. All right, so let me cut this one with the 44 or 46 angle, and then that'll widen out this girdle. So I'll have to go back and cut the girdle a little wider. So let's see how wide we'll need to cut that. Okay, so you can see from the Sharpie helps you see where that line is, and I've not quite cut to the row yet, but at this point it's much better to undercut than to overcut a facet, and I'll walk that in right where I need it to be with either the 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap or when I polish it in. So by cutting this 46 degree angle, I can now see that the girdle facet here needs to be cut in so that it meets this point and that point. So that's why I don't cut it early when I'm roughing things in, because it's hard to figure out how wide you need those angles to be. So it's better to wait till you get to the finer grits and then just walk it in and get it just right. So I'll go back to the girdle, cut the 12, 36, 60, 84 where I need them to be, and then I'll move on to the 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap and pretty much have everything where I want it. I just need to tighten up the lines, get them exactly right, and then we'll go to polish. Okay, I finished polishing the pavilion or lower half of our Ametrine, and I used the Creamway lap from Gearloose with cerium oxide spray. Worked great. Guess I've got a pretty good feel of the Creamway now, so I'll transfer the stone and we'll work on the upper half. Okay, I'm ready to start with my 12M lap, and this will be the first time that I start cutting the corner facets. I didn't cut them with any rougher grit laps because they cut fast, and I'll probably just cut the first tier with the 12M. The second and final corner tier I'll probably just polish in because it's very small and I don't want to overcut it. Okay, I finished polishing the upper part of our stone. Now I just need to cut and polish the table, so that'll be the last step for our Ametrine. Okay, I finished polishing the table for our Ametrine, and I used the gear loose lap, the creamway, and I sprayed cerium oxide and water onto it to kind of supercharge it. So creamway worked great in polishing up this Ametrine. So now I will soak it in acetone to get the two-part epoxy off. Then we'll weigh it and measure it and send it off to BOPIE. So today I took the Golden Steps design, which I have recreated in the GCS application, and used this design to cut a very large Ametrine gemstone. I polished the Ametrine with my creamway and cerium oxide. As far as the Golden Steps design goes, it's a basic step-cut emerald or rectangular shaped design that a gem cutter of any skill level would enjoy cutting. And the great thing about step-cut emerald or rectangular designs is that you can make the length to width ratio anything you want. So I was able to maximize the rough in this preformed Ametrine by using a step-cut design. Give this design a try and let me know how it turns out for you. And as always, happy faceting, everyone.